Elections are often won and lost on the battleground of the economy. Voters care deeply about their financial well-being. They want to know that their jobs are secure, their wages are growing, and their families can thrive. Politicians understand this fundamental truth. They tailor their messages to appeal to voters' economic anxieties and aspirations. In the 2024 presidential election, economic messaging played a pivotal role in Donald Trump's victory. Trump successfully tapped into a vein of economic unease among voters. He offered himself as a champion of the American economy. He promised to bring back jobs, boost wages, and restore America's economic dominance on the world stage. Trump's economic message resonated with voters who felt left behind by the economic recovery. These voters, many of whom were in key battleground states, were looking for a leader who understood their struggles and offered a path to a better future. Trump's populist rhetoric and promises of economic revival struck a chord. The power of the pocketbook is undeniable in American politics. Candidates who can effectively address voters' economic concerns have a significant advantage. Trump's victory in 2024 is a testament to the enduring influence of economic messaging in shaping electoral outcomes. The 2024 election highlighted a stark disconnect between economic data and public perception. On paper, the U.S. economy appeared to be in relatively good shape. Unemployment was low, the stock market was strong, and wages were slowly rising. However, these positive indicators did not resonate with a significant portion of the electorate. Many voters simply did not feel the benefits of the economic recovery in their own lives. They struggled with stagnant wages, rising healthcare costs, and a sense that the American dream was slipping out of reach. This disconnect between perception and reality created an opening for Trump to exploit. Trump effectively argued that the economic data was misleading. He pointed to the decline of manufacturing jobs, the rise of income inequality, and the outsourcing of American jobs to foreign countries. He presented himself as the only candidate who understood the true state of the economy and who would fight for the forgotten men and women of America. Trump's message resonated with voters who felt left behind by globalization and technological change. These voters were looking for someone to blame for their economic anxieties, and Trump offered them a scapegoat, the political establishment, which he claimed had failed them. One of the most striking aspects of Trump's 2024 victory was his ability to expand his base of support beyond traditional Republican voters. Trump made significant inroads with Latino and Black voters, particularly Black men. This suggests that his economic message had a broader appeal than many analysts initially anticipated. Trump's success in attracting minority voters can be attributed to several factors. First, his focus on jobs and economic opportunity resonated with voters who were struggling economically, regardless of their race or ethnicity. Second, Trump's willingness to challenge political correctness and speak directly to the concerns of working-class Americans appealed to voters who felt ignored by the Democratic Party. Third, Trump benefited from a decline in support for the Democratic candidate among some minority groups. This decline was partly due to a perception that the Democrats had taken minority voters for granted and had not done enough to address their concerns. Trump's ability to build a multi-racial, multi-ethnic coalition was crucial to his victory. It demonstrated that his message of economic nationalism and cultural populism could appeal to a broad swath of the American electorate. The media landscape played a significant role in shaping public perceptions of the economy and influencing voter behavior. Trump, a master of media manipulation, effectively used social media and conservative news outlets to amplify his message and bypass traditional media gatekeepers. One of Trump's most effective tactics was his use of the stimulus checks that were issued to Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic. Trump repeatedly took credit for the checks, even though they were authorized by Congress. He also ensured that his name was printed on the checks, creating a direct link in voters' minds between Trump and economic relief. Trump's campaign also benefited from the willingness of conservative media outlets to echo his economic message and attack his opponents. Fox News, in particular, served as a powerful propaganda arm for the Trump campaign, relentlessly promoting his accomplishments and downplaying his failures. The media landscape, fragmented and polarized, created an environment in which misinformation and disinformation could flourish. Trump's campaign exploited this environment to sow doubt about the integrity of the election and to delegitimize his opponents. Section 5. The global stage anti-establishment sentiment and distrust in institutions. Trump's victory in 2024 was part of a broader global trend of voters embracing populist anti-establishment leaders. From Brazil to Hungary to the Philippines, voters expressed a deep dissatisfaction with the status quo and a desire for radical change. This anti-establishment sentiment was fueled by a number of factors, including economic inequality, cultural anxiety, and a loss of faith in traditional institutions. Voters around the world felt that the system was rigged against them, and that their voices were not being heard. Trump tapped into this global wave of discontent by positioning himself as an outsider, a disruptor who would shake up the system and return power to the people. He railed against the deep state, the fake news media, and the corrupt political establishment. Trump's message resonated with voters who felt left behind by globalization and alienated from the political process. They were willing to overlook his flaws and embrace his promises of change, even if those promises were often vague or unrealistic.
North and South, Medley.
Section 6. The Trump Card: Economic Nationalism and Promises of Change. At the heart of Trump's economic message was a potent blend of economic nationalism and populist rhetoric. He promised to make America great again by putting America first in all trade deals and economic policies. This message resonated with voters who felt left behind by globalization and yearned for a return to a time when America was the undisputed economic powerhouse of the world. Trump's economic nationalism manifested in his protectionist trade policies, such as imposing tariffs on goods from China and renegotiating trade deals like NAFTA. He argued that these measures were necessary to protect American jobs and industries from unfair foreign competition. While economists debated the effectiveness and potential downsides of these policies, they resonated with voters who saw them as a sign that Trump was fighting for them. Beyond trade, Trump promised to unleash the American economy through deregulation, tax cuts, and energy independence. He argued that these policies would lead to a surge in economic growth that would benefit all Americans. This message appealed to both businesses and individuals who felt burdened by government regulations and high taxes. Trump's economic message, while light on specifics and heavy on rhetoric, struck a chord with voters who were looking for a decisive leader who promised to shake up the status quo and put America first. Section 7. A divided electorate navigating political polarization. The 2024 election exposed the deep political divisions that continue to plague American society. Trump's victory, while decisive in the Electoral College, masked a deeply polarized electorate. The country remains split along ideological, cultural, and geographic lines. Trump's presidency further exacerbated these divisions. His rhetoric and policies often seemed designed to inflame tensions rather than bridge divides. His supporters saw him as a strong leader who was not afraid to speak his mind and challenge the status quo. His detractors viewed him as a demagogue who was eroding democratic norms and institutions. This political polarization poses a significant challenge for the future of American democracy. It makes it difficult to find common ground, compromise on important issues, and govern effectively. The deep distrust and animosity between the two sides make it challenging to have productive conversations about the country's future. Addressing this polarization is essential for the health of American democracy. It will require leaders who are willing to reach across the aisle, engage in respectful dialogue, and find common ground. It will also require a commitment from citizens to engage in civil discourse and to seek to understand perspectives different from their own. Section 8. The Road Ahead: Economic Policies and Potential Impacts. With Trump back in the White House, the American economy is poised for a period of uncertainty and potential volatility. Trump's economic policies are likely to be a continuation of his first term, with a focus on deregulation, tax cuts, and protectionist trade policies. One of Trump's top priorities will be to enact a new round of tax cuts, primarily benefiting corporations and wealthy individuals. He argues that these tax cuts will stimulate economic growth and create jobs. However, critics contend that they will primarily benefit the wealthy and explode the national debt. Trump is also expected to continue his deregulatory agenda, rolling back environmental protections, financial regulations, and labor rules. He argues that these regulations stifle economic growth and innovation. However, critics warn that they will harm public health, safety, and the environment. In terms of trade, Trump is likely to maintain his protectionist stance, imposing tariffs on goods from China and other countries. He argues that these tariffs are necessary to protect American jobs and industries from unfair foreign competition. However, critics contend that they will harm American consumers and businesses and lead to retaliatory tariffs from other countries. The long-term impact of Trump's economic policies remains to be seen. His supporters are optimistic that his policies will lead to sustained economic growth and prosperity. However, his critics fear that they will exacerbate inequality, harm the environment, and weaken the social safety net. Section 9. Conclusion: the enduring influence of the American economy message. Trump's victory in the 2024 presidential election underscored the enduring power of economic messaging in American politics. By tapping into voters' anxieties about their financial well-being and their place in a changing world, Trump successfully crafted a narrative that resonated across demographic lines and propelled him to a second term. While the complexities of the 2024 election cannot be reduced to a single factor, the American economy message played a pivotal role in shaping the political landscape and influencing voters' choices. Trump's ability to connect with voters on an emotional level, tapping into their fears and aspirations, proved to be a winning formula. As America moves forward, the economy will undoubtedly remain a central issue in the national conversation. The challenge for future leaders will be to address the real economic anxieties of the American people, while also fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose. Only then can the country hope to bridge the deep divisions that threaten its future.